That was a little too close for comfort, folks, but experience. It's a variable that, depending on the situation, the moment, has relevancy. I don't think you could have more that experience as a trait, as a component of advantage. I don't think it could be applied any more seriously than a game 7. And the Warriors kept it simple. If your name isn't Buddy Hield, side note, I got to give Abraham De Leon, a Golden Dazer, someone who I respect when it comes to opinions in this audience. Tip of the cap, sir. Abraham De Leon, you called the Buddy Hield impact game in the postseason months ago. Bravo for that analysis. Bravo to the Golden State Warriors. I'm relieved, if for no other reason than knowing comfortably that we don't have to hear an entire summer of the biggest, dumbest morons on the planet suddenly bringing back up 3-1 again. We avoided that. Woo! That's a relief. And so is the Warriors staying alive in the postseason. They move on to play the Minnesota Timberwolves. I've got a Hall of Famer. I've got one of the greatest players in the history of this game, Rick Barry, joining me in just a moment. The Warriors survive. They take care of business in Houston. And up next is Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's a two-parter tonight. 2 shows. That's what a Game 7 will bring. Rick Barry's going to join me in just a moment. And then as soon as tonight's episode with Rick concludes, we're going to have a part 2 with Larry Krueger and the panel. Just sit tight. It will be a second link for the second show. If you're subscribed to the channel, that should be available already. So sit back and relax. It's a 2-parter. The Warriors won. Let's have some fun. This is the Golden Days.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win.
We are going to win the championship.
Let's go. In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up.
Welcome to the Golden Days. I'm your host for the evening for both shows. My name is Cyrus Saatsaz. I'm on Instagram and Threads at Dog Wild. On Twitter, my handle is Surf Journalist. Rick Barry again will join me in just a second, which gives me an opportunity to give some love to our sponsors. Real fast, we got some hate right away, and I made it clear. I'm just going to block the person. Who cares? I did not lose credibility, for the record. Let me block this person? There we go. I don't need that crap. All right. Tonight's episode brought to you by, first up, Decades Official. And this is a band that can play your event no matter what the event is. It could be a corporate fundraiser. It could be a wedding. It could be a birthday party. Maybe you've got a huge anniversary coming up. Whatever the event is, whatever the moment calls for, even if it's just a good old-fashioned backyard rager. Side note, if you do that, invite me, please. Send me a DM. I might come. Decades Official is the website for a band, again, that just is all about rock and roll. And I'm guessing the music goes beyond just rock and roll in terms of what requests they will adhere to, what kind of music they'll play for you. And they play all kinds of music. Decades will play music from the 50s to today, whether it's like Chuck Berry, whether it's Katy Perry, whatever suits your cup of tea. Decades will fulfill your wishes. Think of the Catalina wine mixer. Think of Prestige Worldwide and what they did for that event. Decades can be that band for you. They're local. They're Golden Dazers. They love the Warriors. They also love the Niners. This band's originally from Chico, but they're in Santa Clara for every Warriors home game, playing the Red Zone rallies right next door at Great America. And again, they're a 5-piece band that could be there for your event. They even played Eddie D's event in Montana. Eddie D, the man who brought 5 Super Bowls to the San Francisco 49ers, that number 5. Focus on that this postseason. That's the goal. 5. And decades actually played for Eddie D in Montana, they could play for you. Email Kyle@atomicmusicgroup.com. Again, Kyle@atomicmusicgroup.com, or visit decadesofficial.com to book that band. Again, they are awesome. Tonight's episode also brought to you by Visit Humboldt. Go there before it gets crowded. It does have a tourist scene, but if you go now, before school gets out, you can enjoy the national parks, you can enjoy the state parks, you can enjoy all of the incredible giant old growth redwoods and sequoias, the beaches, the cliffs, the breweries, the wineries, the incredible restaurants, all the hiking trails. Go enjoy. It's beautiful. If you're in the Bay Area, it's not a long drive. Go check out visithumboldt.com for places to stay, things to do, or email your Uncle Cy. Not email. Well, you can email as well, but you can DM me, because I once upon a time, a while ago, was a student at Cal Poly Humboldt. That's actually what they call Humboldt State now. So I can be a guide for you, because I love the area. I try to go at least once a year, just because that's how much I enjoy the place. And you can enjoy it too. And I strongly recommend beating the summer crowds. They do get a decent amount of people showing up in the summertime. But for now, go enjoy. And thank me later after you have the time of your life. So there you go. And the Warriors. Woo! That was a close one. Again, Rick Barry's going to join us in just a second, but just to recap, I haven't even looked at the box score once yet. I'm looking at this for the first time. And what sticks out to me right off the bat is going to be our player of the game. And if you told me before tonight that the player of the game was going to be Buddy Hield, I'm waiting for Abraham De Leon still. Is he in the chat yet? Because he deserves his accolades. He needs to get on this show at some point soon and show his face, just so everyone else can recognize and acknowledge the brilliance, sir. Abraham, bravo. You called this way before anyone else. I thought you were a little crazy when you said that. Buddy Hield stepping in tonight. Our decades official player of the game. He was the leading scorer with 33 points. Again, I would have never guessed in a million years, if you told me he was going to be the player of the game tonight, that I would have believed you. Yet, when you look at the box score, 36 minutes, 59 seconds he played, 33 points, a team high. 9 of 11 shooting from deep. 9 of 11! That is insanity in a game 7. My Lord. It didn't stop there, by the way. He also had 3 rebounds. He had 3 assists. He had a steal. He had 2 blocks. And Buddy Hield is one of the biggest reasons why we are not in a depression tonight, discussing the fact that the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead for the second time in the Steve Kerr era. We're not there. And it's almost entirely because of the heroics of Mr. Buddy Hield. Incredible. And yeah, we'll absolutely play sound from him, even though I know his voice is a little comical the way he speaks. But the moment we get sound from Buddy Hield for postgame, we will go to that immediately because he deserves his flowers. Buddy Hield, one more time, our decades official player of the game. And Damien LaRoche in the chat, or Golden Dazer, saying Buddy Hield didn't dribble like he usually does. It was refreshing. Yeah, he was just all business. Literally, the man was just draining buckets left and right. Again, 9 of 11 shooting from deep. It started at the half, actually. Let me break down his halftime numbers, because what Buddy Hield did at the end of the first half, he was the reason why the Warriors, again, were in this game for pretty much the entirety of it. The Rockets made a run in the third quarter that made this game close again. The Warriors led after one quarter, 23-19. And the Buddy Hield show, I think, really kicked off in that second quarter. Buddy in that second quarter was 4 of 5 shooting from deep for 14 points in the second quarter. His numbers for the half, 6 of 7 shooting from deep. He had 22 first half points And in that same first half, when you look at the other box scores, Stephen Curry did not have a great start to this game. He was 1 of 6 shooting from deep at the end of the first half for just 16 points, even though Steph was also the team leader in net rating, because the gravity he pulls makes the rest of his teammates thrive. And Buddy Hield having the night like this is the perfect example of that. Here's what I guarantee. I guarantee this. Ime Udoka had a strategy in mind. His strategy was do not let Stephen Curry beat you. And we've been seeing it all series, the doubles and triple teams. Plan B in his approach, do not let Jimmy Butler beat you. And Jimmy Butler did not have the type of playoff Jimmy performance I think a lot of people were expecting. Still had a great game, mind you. And I'll read his stats in just a second, but it didn't blow people's socks off. It wasn't like he's not our player of the game tonight. It was Buddy Hield. So that was Ime Udoka's strategy. Neutralize Stephen Curry 1, neutralize Jimmy Butler 2, and basically approach this game with the philosophy of, if they're going to beat us, make sure that it's not Steph or Jimmy beating us. And you have no answer for this Warriors team if Buddy Hield is shooting like this, right? What the hell are you going to do? You know, I mean, every move you have is exhausted. Every card has been drawn and given to you. That's the deck. And when Buddy's shooting like this, good luck. And the same message goes to Minnesota. Good luck. This Warriors team is unbeatable if Buddy Hield shoots like this. And I see him right now speaking to the TNT crew with the post-game interview, deservedly so, because this was his night. Buddy Hield was massive. Dino Manrique, wholeheartedly agree with you here, writing that Charles Barkley tonight in the pregame show guaranteed a Warriors win. And to see the reaction from the Rockets fans when he did that was bliss. They knew that any guarantee from Chuck is a kiss of death. And when you saw him at halftime, he wasn't backtracking, but he was so bitter at the fact that the Rockets just don't have shooters. And obviously they're inexperienced, and they're going to be making some moves this offseason. I'm confident of that. But Buddy Hield, Maddon, bravo to you, and congratulations for an unbelievable performance. Now, Stephen Curry, I just mentioned he had a bad start to this game. First half numbers, 1 of 6 from 3. First half numbers, he had 3 points total. Did lead the team in rebounding at the end of the first half with 6. So he was making his impact felt in other ways. But here is what Stephen Curry did, and this is where I'm going to give him his 1,000,000% kudos. He simplified things. He realized early on that the Warriors were not going to win this game tonight with the 3-point Chuck style that Steve Kerr has been wanting them to do. Like, Steve Kerr just wants this team to put up threes left and right. Great strategy if they're falling, but when you're not making your threes, that strategy goes to shit really fast. And Stephen Curry did what smart players do. He simplified things and started going for the easy buckets. He started driving. He started dropping in simple layups. And it's a huge reason why he had 19 second half points in this game. Stephen Curry, after that 3-point start, finished with 22 points, had a double-double in this game, adding 10 rebounds, came 3 assists shy of a triple-double, added 2 steals, added 2 blocks in this game. Stephen Curry made himself felt in this game in ways that go beyond the 3-point line. And the moment those 2-point shots started to fall, everything else started to click at that point. In this game total, Stephen Curry shot 50% from the field, 8 of 16. He was 4 of 6 shooting from inside the 3-point line. That's what he was doing. And he finished this game with 22 points, had 1 trip to the free throw line, made both his free throws. So Steph did what he needed to do. Keep the game close, or in the Warriors' case, they were ahead for most of this thing. But he decided to neutralize the approach of the Houston Rockets, which was, you're not beating us with deep bombs. You're not going to beat us with 3-point shots. If you're going to beat us, you're going to have to attack the rim. And he did just that. And Steph was marvelous, despite the first half numbers. When I read to you his second half numbers, you'll understand his brilliance in this game after a slow start. Stephen Curry in the second half tonight, his final line. and I haven't looked at any of these yet. This is all new to me as much as it is to you as I'm reading it to you, unless you're listening or watching the recorded version, then maybe you've seen all this. In the second half of tonight's game, Stephen Curry dropped 19 points, 3 of 4 shooting from deep, 7 of 9 shooting from the field. And again, he started scoring the easy buckets first. You could tell that he was getting more comfortable with those easy buckets going in. A shooter seeing a ball go into the basket, regardless of the distance between the shooter and the rim, that part's irrelevant. Just watching the ball go into that bucket gives a shooter increased confidence to start taking deeper shots. And Steph knew that. He did just that. And again, he went 3 of 4 shooting from deep on top of all those easy inside buckets. It also kept the defense honest because when he started dribbling and attacking, the defense collapsed and suddenly they couldn't just loiter in the perimeter waiting for Steph to shoot deep bombs. It put them on their heels. And kudos to Steph for being aware of that. Kudos to Steph for attacking in the second half. And kudos for another great game. Again, my relief in this game tonight, and this could just be me, but something tells me if you're a true Warriors fan, this resonates with you as well. I do not want to hear anything about 3-1 deficits. And the Warriors were at that point. And when the third quarter of this game started to get close, the Rockets outscored Houston in the third quarter tonight, 23-19. It felt a lot bigger than that. But yeah, a little panic started to sit in, at least for me. I was not feeling comfortable for a brief moment there. And then thankfully, the Warriors took care of business in the fourth quarter. And this is where experience played out. When you're in a game 7 situation, you have one team who 95% of the roster has virtually no postseason experience. I think you take Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams, you take those 3 out, and this is like a rookie team in terms of postseason experience. And you put them in a game 7 against guys like Steph, against guys like Draymond and Jimmy Butler, sign me up. But again, a little too close in the third and fourth quarters. And thankfully, they take care of business. I'm still waiting the Hall of Famer. I don't know where the hell he is or what's going on. If we don't have him tonight, I'm going to be a little disappointed, but what are you going to do? If we're not going to get him on, then I'll invite some folks from the audience if they want to get some opinions thrown in there. And then we'll do part 2 of the show tonight, where I'm going to join Larry Krueger, I believe, is about to initiate on his end. I'm going to join his show in just a little bit, and we'll do a dual stream together. But Julia Bashir is saying, we don't need Rick Barry. Warriors showing teeth 2025 saying, where's Sophia Jones? She normally joins me Monday, but that also gives me a chance to quickly mention there will be no show tomorrow. I don't even know what the schedule is. Let me look that up real fast in terms of what the Warriors T-Wolves series is going to encompass. And I need to know that because I have some medical issues I need to take care of that involve some doctor visits these next 2 days. And here we go. Okay, so game 1 of the Warriors and the Rockets will be Tuesday night. All right, so that's going to be realistically the next time that this program will go live. And I'm coming to the realization that moving forward, every post-game show will likely be a panel with Larry and the crew. They seem interested in that. I feel like the feedback's been incredibly positive from the audience in terms of enjoying those shows. We'll obviously have some shows in between each game, but game 1, at least from what I'm seeing here, is going to be Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time tip-off. The Warriors will be at Minnesota, sadly. And that's where losing that final game of the season to the Clippers bites them in the ass. Never mind the fact that you missed out on a Lakers matchup in the first round, which, as you saw when they played Minnesota, would have been a lot easier than Houston. But now you're also the road team against Minnesota. They have home court advantage because of that season finale that they, again, lost to the LA Clippers. And here we are. So Jimmy Butler, I want to read his stat line real fast because him and Steph were Iron Men out there tonight. Stephen Curry led the team in minutes at 37 years of age. He played 45 minutes, 31 seconds. And then Jimmy Butler was right behind him at 44 minutes, 41 seconds. I mentioned already the Stephen Curry, his final stat line. I actually don't know if I read that off to you. So I'll do that right now. 22 points. He shot 50% from the field, 8 of 16, shot 4 of 10 from deep. So he made up big time for the first half blunder where he went 4 of 6 shooting from deep. More than made up for that in the second half. Finishes shooting 40% from deep, added 10 rebounds, 7 assists, had 2 blocks, had 2 steals. Stephen Curry, 22 points on the night. Bravo. Jimmy Butler in this game. He played 44 minutes, 41 seconds, shot better than 50% from the field, 7 of 13 shooting, made 2 of 3 from deep. When he's doing that, you're feeling great about things. 4 or 5 shooting from the free throw line. He led the Warriors in free throw attempts, added 8 rebounds, added 7 assists, added a steal. So Jimmy Butler, 20 points on the night, 8 boards, 7 assists in a game where his grit, his strength, his tenacity desperately needed against a much bigger Houston Rockets squad. So bravo to Alex in the chat. And Alex, you should ask him. Bring this up, please, when Larry and I collaborate in just a minute here. Alex writing, I wonder how much money Larry laid down against the Warriors tonight. Houston was the favorite in this game, I believe by 3 points, courtesy of MyBookie. But yeah, who knows? We'll find out in just a minute. I will definitely bring that up with Larry. But just to be safe, you bring that up as well. And it gives me a chance real quick, give some love to MyBookie. It's crunch time on the court, and the NBA playoffs are your chance to score big, whether you're riding with favorites or cheering for the underdog. Every 3-pointer, every dunk and buzzer beater is an opportunity to win at MyBookie. The Warriors money line tonight was delectable. It was a delight. If you bet on the Warriors with the money line, bravo, congratulations. Chef's kiss for you. And if you're new to MyBookie, one of the 2 sports books that proudly sponsors Golden Days, sign up with the promo code MM50. M as in Mary, M as in Mary, 50, and instantly boost your first deposit. Put down $50. MyBookie tosses in an extra 25. It's a 50% deposit. That's where they're dropping for you at MyBookie. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. Now, the topic that has become polarizing for Dub Nation. There are sides dug in. Unfortunately, it sucks that this is even like a debate. But you mentioned Jonathan Kuminga, and immediately sides are planted, right? You got one side that says, God damn it. I mean, what more does this kid have to do to play? Former number 7 pick, second lottery pick in a row that Steve Kerr just sees very little value in, doesn't trust much. He got a run tonight. And Kuminga came into the game. I think he was the 6th man for the Warriors, played 7 minutes, 21 seconds. More shockingly, and by the way, the other camp, in case I forgot, sorry, there are the 2 camps, his defenders, and then those who say, no matter what Steve Kerr says, I trust him. If Steve Kerr thinks he sucks, even though there's no decent sample size of playing minutes, I defer to Steve Kerr, and I trust him no matter what he says. Those are your 2 camps. Well, Kuminga got a run tonight. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't great either. He had 1 turnover early that you could tell just drove Steve Kerr to a level of iration that he couldn't handle. And this has been the issue entirely with Kerr and Kuminga. He doesn't trust them. Kuminga had 1 turnover in the game. It wasn't a good turnover, but it happened. You could attribute rust. You could attribute just a mental lapse. And he got pulled. And that was that. But for a brief moment there in the first quarter of this game, you had a 5-man lineup that I wish we saw all the time. And I feel with conviction that if we saw this lineup all the time, you would not see the Warriors needing 7 games to beat the Rockets. You would see the Warriors beating the piss out of teams like Minnesota and OKC and whoever they play in the NBA Finals. And that 5-man lineup that we actually saw for a very brief moment before Kuminga made the committed the horrible turnover, the 1 turnover that cost them playing time after that. There was a 5-man unit where we saw Jimmy Butler, where we saw Draymond Green, where we saw Stephen Curry, where we saw Brandon Pajemski, and where we saw Jonathan Kuminga on the court together. And they actually, look, we only saw it for like a minute or 2. It looked competent. I thought it looked beautiful. The Warriors were actually playing good basketball in that brief moment when it happened. And then again, Jonathan Kuminga committed 1 turnover, and we saw him 1 more time briefly in the second half. I guess it's a good thing that he got minutes, but and with GP2 out last minute with an illness. Side note, again, I've been saying time and time throughout this season that the GP2 minutes are what's most nonsensical, at least to me. And he got a DNP tonight, not because of play or coaching decision, because he was ill. He apparently woke up this morning just really feeling like crap. And I think I got in terms of descriptions of the illness, it was something related to his stomach, might have been contagious. I don't know. The amount of illnesses in this postseason by itself is really bizarre. You got Pajemski, Kuminga, GP2 all falling ill. Anyways, he was out tonight. And so Kuminga got a brief run, 7 minutes and change. But for that little spell in the first quarter, Kuminga, Pajemski, Steph, Butler, Draymond. They were on the court together. The world did not end. It actually looked competent. And I just wish we saw more of it. I don't know if we will, but it's a shame. Oh, and we got Rick Barry in the house. Yes. How are you doing, sir? The Hall of Famer is here. Better late than never. How you doing, sir? Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. But there was a few things I wanted to actually rewatch before I came on. But
how dare
I'm
you
just
try
so
to be
happy.
smart for the show?
I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy for the guys and the fans for this team to do what they did after the horrible fourth quarter they had in game number 6, which was, boy, that was just hard to take and swallow. I mean, but here's the hey. But I told you, well, everybody, what do you think? What do you think? I said, I don't know. I mean, that's basketball. Always expect the unexpected is what I live by. See, how many games have taken place in these playoffs that you just blow your mind? Miami losing 2 games by 90-something points. I mean, it's insane. Who would have thought that Denver would do to the Clippers what they did? I mean, come on. Seriously. And for the Warriors to do what they did in the fourth quarter at home in a closed-out game. Oh, my God. So, and look what happens. The Rockets come out. Here's maybe where the importance of the game. Every game was important, but not as important as the 7th game. And trying to win, and 90-something% of the time, isn't it 3-1? The teams win usually, the one that's ahead. So everything was against them, and they didn't have the experience of being there. And they sure did not play anywhere near the kind of basketball game they played against the Warriors in game number 6. Absolutely.
I want to real quickly, Rick, if you don't mind, this individual right here, Abraham De Leon, he's been a Golden Dazer from the start. I remember him for years in the audience when I was over at Locked On Warriors. And Abraham De Leon, who I've credited repeatedly, I feel like every post he makes, I read it and I go, you're right, I'm in agreement. He said something a couple months ago that I was not in agreement with. It was the first time I ever looked at his words and paused quizzically. He thought Buddy Hield would have a incredible impact this postseason, and I didn't think that would be a thing. I did not expect Buddy Hield. Wrong. Yeah, I feel. And look, I was wrong. I'll admit it, but I also feel like almost everybody was wrong. I didn't see anybody come out and say Buddy Hield is going to be the savior of Game 7. This came out of left field, unless your name is Abraham De Leon. I just want to give that man credit.
Well,
Rick,
give him some credit, man. I don't know what he was thinking about, because I would agree with you. I don't think anybody would have agreed with him at that time, based upon. But then again, you just don't know. See, with Buddy. Buddy is this kind of a player, roller coaster, up and down, right? It's not your guy. You want to have the guy that's kind of steady at a high level, as opposed to the up and down. I mean, go and get you 20 points and then get you 2. I mean, that's hard for a coach. This is why. This is why you want to try to rely on guys. But anyway, I'm happy for Buddy. God, he had an unbelievable first half, career game. I mean, just tied a record for the most 3-pointers in a Game 7 in NBA playoff history.
Did he really? I didn't know that.
Yes, tied a record 9 times. And DiFrancesco did it when he played. When he was playing, he had a record of 9. So he just had a fabulous game. But this is what it takes. This is what team sports is all about. It's not always the star player. Steph Curry has a subpar game through 3 quarters. Was not doing the Steph Curry kind of stuff that we're used to seeing, but he's Steph Curry. And there's 4 quarters to a game, right? The horse that gets out of the gate first in the Kentucky Derby didn't win the Kentucky Derby Saturday, right? And so
that's this weekend, by the way, correct? Was that today? Is that tomorrow?
Kentucky Derby was yesterday.
Oh, it was yesterday. I missed that.
Yeah. So that's why I use the analogy. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff that can happen. And to Buddy's credit, he came up big when they needed him to come up big. And Jimmy was there again, to help them there. They don't win that game without Jimmy Butler. They don't win a game with some of the defense. Now, there's the one thing I will say about it. Thank God. They played well. Looks like they were going to blow their lead totally in the second quarter, right? And they were able to get it back, have a nice, comfortable lead at halftime. Then it looked like they were going to blow the lead again in the second half. Got it all the way down to 3 at 63-60, and then some really big plays. I mean, Draymond Green had 2 big baskets at what? Off of good plays. Jimmy Butler kicking them to him, get him that little floater, and then that little layup. And so, some big ones. And Jimmy had a big, had a big 3-pointer from the corner and had a 6-point run at another point when they were making a run at him. And so people stepped up. Now, the one thing that I was probably most concerned about in the second half, what the hell were we thinking with Draymond Green being the guy to take shots? I mean, come on. That's not the guy you want shooting with the guys that are on the floor. And the pod man did not have a great offensive game. He didn't shoot the ball well at all. And Moody was like non-existent. And the Warriors won on the road. I mean, think about that, folks. I mean, seriously, that is a subpar game for them, but they played good, tough defense. And the thing that was interesting, Adams was not a factor. I don't understand when they did go, that lineup was so successful for them, that didn't seem to look to use them at all.
Well,
and they shot the ball poorly, but that's why they shot the ball really poorly.
Well, Rick, you oftentimes will use the acronym KISS, keep it simple, stupid, right? And I do feel like tonight it is pretty simple. If Buddy Hield doesn't hit 9 of 11 threes, maybe Steven Adams does get bored. So, maybe it is a different story. Sometimes it's that simple sometimes. Would you disagree with that, or do you agree? Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, everything has a factor. I mean, it has an impact on stuff, but this is what it takes. It takes someone stepping up to do what needs to be done and having a big game. That's what a team sport is about. You can't just rely on 1 or 2 people and expect to win a majority of your games. That's not going to happen. And this is what you need. And he did. He stepped up huge. I mean, he was huge. First, 22 in the first half? I mean, and 22 in the first half, and then a whole bunch, in the second half as well. I was proud of those guys. The pod man was not shooting the ball well. Oh my God! And Steph did a great job of getting open shots for a lot of guys. And boy, a lot of guys shot some bricks. I mean, the pod man, he was missing left and right, and I mean, that was scary, to tell you the truth. I mean, when I see a shooter, if he's missing left and right, he's doing something technically wrong. I mean, good shooters don't miss left and right. Very rarely do they do that.
Good point there. And I brought this up early in the show, Rick, and I don't know if you agree, but Steph at the end of the first half was struggling. He had 3 points. I think he was 1 of 6 shooting from beyond the arc. And in the second half, what I saw, and I don't know if you saw the same thing, is Steph decided to, again, KISS, keep things simple, stupid. I don't know if the stupid part was needed here, but Steph decided, okay, enough of the threes. I'm just going to make easy buckets. And I saw him drive time and again. And the Rockets defense, I don't think, was prepared for a Warriors team that lives and dies by the 3, at least this season, to simplify things and go for those easy 2s. Steph was getting layups, he was getting floaters, and then when that happened, I feel like everything else just fell into place. Did you see the same thing or no?
Well, this is what you have to do. When your shot's not working for you, you find easy ways. Like for a bigger guy, you go and get an offensive rebound, get on a fast break, get fouled, go to the free throw line so you can see the ball, feel it coming off your hand, going in the basket. All of those things are conscious, for your conscious is good. It's validating for you. And Steph made the change, made some great, I mean, really, a couple of them were unbelievable drives, and some of the reverses and the spin he had to put on the ball. I mean, it was impressive as hell. It really was. And it was fun to see him do that, but it was fun to see the team play the way that they played. I mean, they did the kind of things that they needed to do. They played tough defense, and Houston showed their inexperience. I mean, they did. That was as poor a game as I've seen them play in the series, to be honest with you. I don't think they utilized their big guys. Sengun didn't seem like he was on his game. And Buddy Hield did a great job a lot of times guarding him with this quickness and bumping and banging him. I was very impressed with the Warriors' defense. The defense didn't win it. I mean, obviously the fact that Buddy did what he did shooting the ball, and then Stephen came alive in the fourth period to do what he had to do. But that was playoff basketball by a veteran basketball team that played tough defense and did what they needed to do in order to be able to win, with the heroics of one guy in particular, Buddy Hield, with Jimmy Butler being right there and Steph being Steph in the fourth quarter.
I'm glad you brought that up. And the Warriors defense, going back to Jimmy Butler for a second, that's where I thought he contributed the most. I thought his impact was felt the most on the defensive end. He played fantastic basketball overall. Anything stick out to you with Jimmy Butler or anything else? I mean, Kevon Looney's another player I think we should mention because
Kayvon did a nice job when he was in there. He definitely did a nice job, and but that's what you're supposed to do. That's why you're a team. Yeah, you got to be ready when your name's called. It's only your fault if you're not ready to play.
Yes,
it's not the coach's fault. Maybe the coach didn't play you when you like to have been played or whatever, but you damn well better be ready to go in the game. And this is what wins. When the Warriors, during their championship spurts that they had and the victories they had in the championships, what was one of the primary reasons they won? The bench.
Well, yeah, strength in numbers.
The
Yes.
bench, strength in numbers. It's the
I was going to say
bench.
shot blocking, but that too.
No, the bench.
kidding,
Well, they never had too much of the shot blocking.
No, I know.
The bench has to come through for you. And in this game, I mean, the Warriors crushed them from 3-point range. That's the thing about the 3-point shot. When you get guys,
Yes, sir.
and when you get a guy shooting like Buddy did, I mean, that makes it kind of tough. And Steph had, like you say, didn't have a horrible. He had a horrible first half for Steph Curry, but when he needed it, he knocked down some big threes at times when they really needed it. So I was really happy. The thing I got most worried about when the game was close is they wound up with Draymond Green shooting shots. What the hell?
Well, he put up 8 3-point attempts, made 2 of them. At least he made those 2, and those were big, I thought. But yeah, the Draymond 3-point experiment I found is starting to become a little redundant and not as successful as it was.
I'm sorry, I don't think Draymond should not be shooting.
I agree.
Now, but here's the thing. I will say this: a lot of times he got the ball, he had to shoot it.
Right.
And he got the ball with only a few seconds and stuff on the shot clock. But I'm saying, what are you thinking about that if you're making passes? You don't make a pass from the clock running out to Draymond Green. And Draymond has got to move. Somebody else has got to put themselves in a position to make sure they're an outlet to get the pass to be able to get that shot off. The other thing about the Podman that I'll bring up, and I don't know if you noticed it as well, I think on many occasions, he had a chance to shoot the ball on some of his penetration moves and elected not to do that. I mean, you get in the gut like that, you need to make some of those shots. Take it to the line. He made a couple of great spin moves, had a chance to go in and lay one in, and he still threw the ball out to the corner. So sometimes you can be unselfish to a fault.
No, you're right. I feel like Jimmy Butler is a victim of that sometimes, where he's trying to get his teammates involved so much.
But he made some great passes to Draymond for some nice easy baskets, and the Warriors. How about some of the passes Steph made to guys when he penetrated? I mean, he got guys wide open looks, and we missed a lot of them as well. But see, Steph is a great basketball player, folks. I mean, he's smart enough to know. He's smart enough to know that what to do when things aren't necessarily going well for him. And, they got a victory that I don't think most people thought that they would get. I don't know what the line was, but I'm sure the Rockets were favored.
They were by 3 or 3.5. It was, they were favored. Correct. The Warriors pulled off the upset win tonight. You are correct on that. The upset win
is such a dramatic. I mean, they're up 20-something points, but the game was over. I mean, that was
Rick,
crazy.
and I was saying this before right at the beginning of the show. Like I was not looking forward to a summer of Stephen Curry being disrespected and attacked for a second 3-1 series lead being blown. Like that was not a conversation I was looking forward to. I don't think anybody was, if you have any emotional stakes here with the Warriors. So a relief that is something we don't have to touch at all. At least for now.
Didn't he have his best fourth quarter? And in the last, he had his best fourth quarter point wise.
You might be right. I don't know. I actually don't know that.
I'm pretty sure stats that I saw come up there that Steph had his most productive point wise quarter than he had in previous games. And so you expect that from Steph Curry. Yeah. I mean, a lot's expected of him, but he's the kind of player that usually delivers.
Yeah, Steph in the fourth quarter tonight, 5 of 6 shooting from the field, 14 points. 2 of 3 shooting from deep. Yeah, he was masterful in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, and that's perfect. He Steph Curry did what Steph Curry can do, and he did it on the road in a hostile environment. And I'm just so proud of this team to do it, and to do it as convincingly as they did. But I know that their pride was there. I know they had to be so upset with themselves. They knew they blew a game. They should have won Game 6.
They should have, yes, absolutely.
They should have won Game 6. I mean, the Rockets weren't playing that great. They only shot 42-9 in the second half. It wasn't like the Rockets were on fire. Okay.
No.
And the Rockets had it was an aborted mission in Game 7.
And the three-point shooting tonight, the Warriors finished 18 of 43. That's 41.9% of the threes made. Houston, 6 of 18, good for 33.3%. Better than 0 of 27 the last time these two teams played in a Game 7, but still not good enough. Sasha Jones in the chat dropping $4.99, saying Steve Kerr did a good job tonight, minus leaving Pajemski in there brick after brick, shaking my head. Just wish he'd give Moody and Kuminga that same courtesy. Rick, we briefly touched on Moody.
Moody was 0 for something in the He was not shooting the ball well at all. And so,
No.
you know, but he did do something. Another thing that we didn't mention at all that has to be mentioned. You know how many rebounds Steph had?
10. He had a double-double. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, 3 assists shy of a triple-double tonight. He's fantastic.
Thank you. I mean, come on. And if the guys had made some of the passes he made to him with the wide open shots, he should have had a triple-double.
I would call this show, Rick, the Stephen Curry propaganda show, if I could get away with it. I borderline worship the man in terms of just his greatness on the basketball court. And side note, before we get to the paid chats, actually, real fast, we were supposed to do a show yesterday. Apologies again to the audience. That was on me. It was a long story, just technical difficulties, but a clip that made the rounds after Game 6, which you and I both found a lot of delight in, was Cannon Curry, a kid who something tells me we're going to hear from him a lot in 15 years when he starts becoming an adult. I think he's going to be a superstar in some regard, but he's got a personality, and he was depressed after that Game 6 loss. Like you saw the footage, and I posted it on social media of Steph trying to console him. Steph's mom, his wife, Cannon's mom was there, and Cannon wanted nothing to do with the post game. He was sad. Even his dad was like, "We play again Sunday," and he was like, "Yeah, but then he went and cried again. But you said you had a similar story yourself.
Well, no, it's the type of thing that what happens when you have children, you know, the expectations and things that they have. And so mine was even worse than that, because it's not like Steph let him down. It's just that the team lost and he was so into it and he's such a big fan. And, you know, and his dad didn't have a great game. And so obviously at a young age, he understands losing. He doesn't like losing, which is a great thing. Okay. In my case, my son Scooter, I competed. Remember, there's a show when you're too young to know called the Superstars competition that they had.
But I've seen the clips of it. It's actually I see highlights.
They had it was on for years, and these athletes would compete in 2 different days. You had to pick 7 out of 10 different sports to compete in, or what I think it was 7 of 10. And then you see how well you do, and the overall one gets the superstar competition, wins the championship. So I was doing it. They asked me to do it, and I did it. And they had a qualifying thing. They had one in the Bay Area. So I was doing the Bay Area, and the last event that I happened to be in was the 880. I hated running 880. So we've been doing all this stuff for all day long doing it, and so I knew all I had to do was not fall down and not finish, and I was going to win. Okay, so I went and ran. It was a long day. I didn't kill myself doing it, and I ran. So I came across the finish line where I did. I don't know if I might have been last, wherever the hell I was. And my son Scooter, my oldest son Scooter, is there. And I go up to him, and he's crying. He's got son. He said, "You didn't try your hardest." I said, "Oh my God." I said, "Son, send this over." "No, but you said you always have to give your best effort." And I felt so horrible because I didn't give my best effort. And so he was so distraught and crying over the fact that.
How do you explain that to a kid? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I felt horrible.
You're all son. It's a math problem. How do you explain it?
Peace. Yeah. I'd never forget that. That was just incredible. So, but at least,
Cannon thankfully is not sad tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Cannon Curry, I'm guessing, watched the game and he's happy for his dad now. But that was a very endearing moment, I thought. And Rick, Scooter, by the way, I believe he's a Bay Area resident now. I think he was at the Guardsman fundraiser a few days ago. I heard there were sightings of Scooter and his beautiful wife at the event. So just a shout out there for Scooter.
Yeah, he and Ruby. Yeah, it's nice to get out there and get the chance to visit with them.
How many grandkids have they given you?
Well, they have one. So that's my youngest one, 2-year-old Brooklyn. So she just had her birthday at the beginning of April, and Ruby is a great mother and a great wife, and I'm just happy that he's happy and they're all healthy. So that's the most important thing. But yeah, that was grandchild number 9.
Oh my! Bravo, sir. You have had
No,
one.
I'm
hell of
not a
life.
great grandfather yet, though. So none of the ones
Good.
that are older.
Let's
Some of John's boys, some of them are out of school. One of Scooter's daughters graduating, here this month. So she's going to graduate. She had a chance to work for some NBA team. She did it in interviews and stuff, and she was very well received. But now she's going to go work for a company that Ruby, her stepmom, had started her workout and doing his, headhunting thing and all in San Francisco. So we're excited that she'll be back over there doing that. So, and she did get a lot of NBA teams and even other teams showed interest in her working in a pro office. But hey, whatever. But anyway,
what are you gonna do? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but none of them got married. None of those. Thank God they're too young to be getting married. When you're in your early 20s, mid 20s, you don't want to be like me. Hell, I got married at 21 years of age. I mean, my God,
times have changed. Times have changed.
Times have changed so much. I know, but I mean, I think if you looked at the statistics, marriages for men who are married at 30 or older, the divorce rate is significantly lower than those who get married in their 20s or teens.
Makes sense. You sow your oats, or in Coming to America, as they said, sow your royal oats.
Yeah,
and, figure things out, establish a level of maturity that makes you better prepared for a commitment. Like, marriages are serious stuff, man. Like just a piece of advice for anyone out there. And I don't know if I'm the right person to give advice on marriage, but just be prepared for a massive commitment. Do not think that just because this person loves you, you can just sit back and be complacent for your marriage. That ain't going to work. You got to kind of constantly work at it
and be prepared to accept them for who they are. And don't think that if you get married, they're going to change. No, they're more than likely not going to change. They may make some changes, but you got to be willing to accept who it is and know who they are before you make that final commitment. Don't think you're going to change them and turn them into who you want them to be.
Yes, sir. Sasha Jones, $4.99. I read this already. We already did this one. I'm sorry. Yeah, we already addressed that. Julian Bashir dropping $2 saying, F Larry Krueger, who I'm going to go on with in just a second here in a few minutes, whenever we're done here, saying the Warriors will win the championship, ban him for life. And Julian Bashir in the chat is upset because Larry Krueger picked the Rockets to win that series. So he was wrong, and I'll be joining him. He'll be joining me, however you want to label it, in just a little bit. Julian Bashir also saying, let me ask you something. If Jonathan Kuminga played 40 minutes tonight, could he go 4 of 12 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3, and score 9 points? And I think Julian is reading off Brandon Pajemski's stat line as an example of a double standard that some people have pointed out. Besides that argument there, Rick, what was your thoughts on Kuminga tonight? I'm glad he saw some time out there. I wish Kerr had more trust in him. Clearly the trust is not there, but what's your thoughts?
Well, again, I mean, he hasn't shown also to be a consistent type of a player either. I mean, and that's the type of thing that makes it difficult. I mean, you got a couple of guys. Hield's that way. He's that way. But, the Podman's been that way. I mean, we got a lot of guys in this team that, show great potential at times and play at a very high level, but they don't do it as consistently enough as to make the coaching staff feel comfortable about it.
Right.
And it makes it hard as a coach to, you want to have somebody you can rely on, and nobody's going to give you, a guy like Jimmy Butler. Perfect example. I mean, this is why he's getting paid the money he plays, because he's capable of playing very consistently on both ends of the court, doing the things you would expect him to do. And of course, everybody's going to have tough games, some, really bad games, and that happens. And that's sports, and that's the NBA. 8 to 10 games, the player is not, if it was a starter and plays a lot, may have a tough time and struggle. So you need to accept that. But he's playing mostly consistency for all of those other games, and sometimes playing at an incredibly high level. And so fortunately, we got Buddy Hield at the top of the hill.
Oh, incredible. Buddy Hield. And I already gave him his flowers tonight. He's going to be our player of the game. He's going to get the graphic and the whole thing. Wainster dropping $5.99 saying, great D. Hey, Buddy and the others. Buddy Hield and Kevon Looney neutralized the two bigs. Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green finished the job. Pajemski and Moody, good effort. Practice your shots. Yeah, I don't know if you saw Charles Barkley, by the way. I got a laugh out of that because he gave the guarantee that the Rockets were going to win tonight. And every Rockets fan just immediately was like, no, because they knew that was a kiss of death. Like, you don't want a guarantee from Charles Barkley. It's going to go the wrong way. And then at halftime, he eviscerated the Houston Rockets for not having any shooters on the team besides Fred VanVleet. And the whole thing was comical, I think. I don't know if you appreciate that the same way folks like me do, but he does. By the way, I don't know if you've ever noticed this. Charles Barkley does have reverence for you. When your name comes up, I do notice he takes a minute to show you respect, but I just wanted you to know that.
That's nice. I know Charles. I've been around Charles a lot, and his mom is the greatest. I love his mom. His mom's just an awesome person. So listen, if he was really good at understanding who was going to win and who's not going to win, he'd make a lot more money. He's making a hell of a lot of money with TV, but he can make a lot more. He can make a lot more gambling if you really knew the things. I mean, you can make a killing, but that's the problem. You don't know. Okay. And that's the whole thing. People ask me, I said, if I knew that, I wouldn't be talking to you. I would have made a bet. I never make a bet because I know I've been there. I know how crazy it is. And this playoff has been a perfect example how insane has been. That some of these victories we talked a little earlier about it, it's just crazy. You would, in your wildest dreams, you would never think that what took place in some of these playoff games this season would ever have happened. I don't think anybody. You could have gotten incredible odds. The Warriors at home with trailing by 2, going into sixth game, a closeout game in the playoffs against the Rockets, are going to go 1 for 14 in the first 8.5 minutes of the fourth quarter. I mean, come on, seriously, would you not take that bet that's not going to happen? Of course you would.
I want to real quick, Simon 2 in the chat saying, how does Larry Krueger have 57,000 subs? His primary focus is the Niners, and he does a phenomenal job covering the 49ers. I do also want to tip my cap to Larry for organically building that 57,000 number. There are some folks out there who buy subscribers, and I feel like you can always tell just by looking at the views of each show and whether or not it correlates with the subscribers. Anyways, Larry's my boy. I know he
tell Larry I said hello when you talk.
I will. He loves you, sir. Yeah, I absolutely will. He has nothing but admiration and respect for you. Rick, the Warriors are going to turn around immediately. They're not flying home after this. They're flying to Minnesota, the tundra. Well, I don't think it's cold up there anymore. Who knows? But this should be a fun one. Anthony Edwards came out. I wish I had the clip right now. I don't. But Anthony Edwards said in an interview, I believe this was last year, that if there was one team he could pick to play against in the playoffs, it would be the Warriors. And when he was asked why, he said it's because he wants the opportunity to talk shit with Draymond Green in a playoff setting. This should be a fun one. I oddly think Minnesota is a slightly better matchup for the Warriors than Houston, and we're going to get into this, I promise, and I'll explain it in more detail in a better setting. I know that might sound crazy to some people, but I think this is a very winnable series for the Warriors. It starts Tuesday. I haven't done my research yet. I don't know if you have, but what are your immediate thoughts on?
First of all, the Ant-Man has to understand there's an old adage that goes something like this: be careful what you ask for.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Because he's getting what he asked for. So let's just see if it was something that turns out to be good for him or bad for him. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm happy that I'm just happy we got through this round. I told you before, I thought the Warriors could beat this team.
Yes.
I really did believe that they could beat this. I was happy when I saw they were playing the Rockets. I thought, the way that they played and got a 3-1 lead, I thought it was going to be a little easier than this, but they did get it done, which is the most important aspect of it. Now, unfortunately, they had to expend a lot of energy in order to be able to do that.
Exactly.
And we'll see how it plays out. That now the greatest thing, if you're a Warriors fan, is somehow find a way to win one of these games so that you can come back home and know that you've got a home court advantage in the same scenario that took place here. Now, whether they can pull that off or not remains to be seen, but they have 3 chances to do it, but then they have to take care of everything at home. So that's what the playoffs are all about. And, they came off of a good win, didn't have a great overall game offensively, but if they play that kind of defense and have one of their normal offensive games, Minnesota's going to have to play really well to beat them. That's simple.
Oh, I strongly agree on that. I guess just from initial impressions, what are the similarities and differences you see with Minnesota versus Houston?
And if they're not as athletic as Houston. They're not as athletic as Houston. I don't think, except for the Ant-Man. He's kind of crazy. That guy's amazing. He's pretty special. It's pretty special. The problem I think about it is I think they shoot the ball better. They do shoot the ball better than the Rockets. That
much better. It's like almost night and day.
Yeah, they shoot the ball a lot better than the Rockets. So and the Rockets' inefficiency or ineptitude It's a good word, ineptitude.
It is.
Offensively, shooting the basketball came back to hurt them because they're one of the poorest shooting teams. And I also don't like a lot of things. I mean, they're a nice team, but even like late in the game when the game was still, in touch for the Rockets, too much dribbling. I mean, one possession, Van Fleet had the ball and dribbled the entire time and wound up taking a really tough shot. And he played great. I'm not saying he's a hell of a player, but I don't like teams that dribble and dribble and dribble. As a player, you just dribble and dribble and pass, move, cut, do the things the way the Warriors have won championships playing that style of basketball. Because there's no decisions for the defense to make. Other than if he goes to them, you help if he gets by his guy. But what other decisions do you have to make? You're not affording an opportunity for that other team to make a mistake defensively because there's no decisions to be made. And that's just not good basketball.
You're absolutely right. The ball moves faster than a human ever could. That's why you pass the ball a lot. The offense for the Rockets was stagnant. With all that said, however, their GM, I had to look it up because I had no idea who their GM is. His name is Raphael Stone. I think he's going to have a fun offseason. That's a team that is this close to in my opinion, achieving greatness. And something tells me
it's not that close.
You don't think so? Okay. Because I feel like
I agree with you. They don't have enough shooters.
Well, no, you're right.
Okay. So, but, I mean, so if not having enough shooters, you're not this close. Okay.
But let me ask you this. They're
hard, and you got to have more. You got to get more than just one shooter, and you got to have more than two shooters.
That's fair. Because here's why
let me one thing. Here's the kid that's got to go. Thompson has got to spend the entire offseason developing an outside shot and a three-point shot because he's a gifted young man. He's got incredible ability, incredible quickness and speed and jumping ability and what have you, and he can finish inside nicely. He got to be able to shoot the basketball because people are you could just overplay, playing, force him out, and you're going to drop off him and make him shoot three-point shots. He doesn't even think about that. So if they want to take the step to become an elite team, they got to get some other shooters, and maybe he's a guy. He's got to develop himself into a shooter. That will help the Rockets more than just bringing a shooter in because he's got all the other stuff to go with it.
Here's why I look at them and I think they're on the cusp is because a player like Amen Thompson he's going to be special. You're right. He's going to work on that shot this offseason, and something tells me he's going to come back next year, and that's going to be much improved. They have this kid, Reed Shepherd, who is supposedly a fantastic shooter, number 2 pick in the draft last year. Wouldn't surprise me if he gets promoted and we see a bigger role for him next year. Fred VanVleet, something tells me they're going to sign and trade him. I think he has a player option for like 45, 46 million. Do not be surprised that Kevin Durant ends up on that team. And a Kevin Durant on that squad, I would have high hopes. I could be wrong. I don't know, but that's what I see with the Rockets. And if I'm their GM, I'm stoked. But the
team is so reliant on VanVleet because he dominates the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, to a point of a little bit too much. I mean, and so if they let him go, who's taking over to help run the team?
And I like James Chong in chat bringing up just how young Jonathan Kuminga is because he brings up that Kuminga is only a few months older than Amen and his twin brother Oscar. Yeah, Kuminga is very young, and that's a huge reason why the trust I don't think is there yet. Rick, before I let you go, sir, and I know it's late where you're at in Florida, I have the lines in front of me. I had to go to 2 different sports books to get the line for Tuesday's game 1 and the series odds as a total. I know you're not a gambling man, but if you had to guess, who's favored and by how much? I'm going to ask you to guess the line, sir.
Well, they're probably going to pick Minnesota, but probably, I don't know, probably the first game, 3 points.
Ooh, good guess. The line for game 1 is Minnesota minus 5.5. Do you think Minnesota's favored?
Wait a second. Minnesota minus 5.5?
Yeah.
Oh, minus 5.5.
Yeah. Yeah. They're and then they're favored in the series minus 183. So if you love the Warriors, pick them as a series, because if the Warriors pull off a game 1 upset, you're never going to see a line like this again. Currently, the Warriors
5.7 points for the Warriors
for game 1. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that could be interesting. But then again, they play a lot of games. They do have some older guys, and they're only getting 1 day's rest. So we'll see. They'll get 2 good nights sleep because they're on their charter plane flying. So they'll have They'll have a nice rest tonight. Whereas if that shit happened with us, we'd be going and falling asleep at 1:30 in the morning, getting up to get your 6:30 a.m. flight to go to the next city.
Well, every time you bring up your playing days, sir, I always think of the movie Major League. I don't know if you remember that film or saw it.
Yeah, sure.
There's a scene in the film where they're on the team plane and the owner is just cheaping out, right? Because she wants to tank the team. Very similar to the Oakland A's, like just try to destroy the value of the team and move them to Florida or Miami or whatever the plan was. But that plane ride, I always think of you because I imagine your situation in the 70s was probably not that different. You could correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I just imagine the comfort that these players enjoy today. The luxuries were virtually non-existent.
First of all, we traveled coach.
So you just had did you have just some random person sitting next to you for some of these flights, or did you at least sit with your teammate?
We traveled coach. I felt sorry for Nate Thurman, who, was 6'10". I mean, sitting in a coach seat, hopefully you got to get an exit row. But we know we had the long cross countries. Back in those days, you did a lot of flying on United, and they had a little lounge thing in the back where you could sit down, and there was four people or five could sit and get. And so Nate could sit in one of those seats and be able to stretch his freaking legs out. Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, that's why when I hear any of these players today bitching and complaining about how tough it is and we have to travel, I just say you guys have no freaking clue what it's like to have tough travel. So anyway, it's another world, and also they have 3 zeros that I didn't have on my contract. So.
That's fine. Well, I'm grateful that you're here now, sharing these incredible stories. Sir, you got some fantastic. Well, real quick, actually, before we go, a couple more paid chats. Shardal, his YouTube channel is SGA Sports Talk. Go subscribe. Drop in a $1.99 comment just saying the Warriors win 103-89. Is that what the score was? I don't think I actually read that tonight. Yes, 103-89 the final. And Dylan Brooks is a jackass. Yeah, he's going home. He's going home. So there you go. What would that? I know you experienced some crazy players in your day. There was that one guy, I forgot his name, who ended up being like a mercenary in Africa and then vanished.
John
What's
Brisker,
his name?
88.
So
John
where does
Brisker.
Dylan Brooks
One time
rank?
he got in trouble in front of Three Rivers Stadium over there, and it took like 5 cops to subdue him and arrested him. And then he wound up leaving the country and became a mercenary and got killed over in Africa.
That's crazy to me. And so
Yeah, well,
allegedly,
I never, ever didn't know where John Brisker was on the court when I played. He
That's
and another
crazy.
guy named Wendell Ladner, who unfortunately got killed in an airplane crash when he played for the
Ooh.
Nets after what I wasn't there. But but he's another guy that was I would never not know where he is because I didn't know if he would sucker punch me or not. The guy was crazy. So anyway, those are 2 of the toughest, craziest guys that guarded me in my career. And so, yeah,
I'm shocked they haven't made a movie about that guy because side note, John Brisker, body never found. Who knows if most likely dead.
Oh, did you look that up?
I did look that up. Yes,
Oh,
body
yeah.
never
Well,
found, and you played against that man. So does Dylan Brooks? Would he even would you even bat an eyelash to this guy? Like
not compared to John Brisker. Not compared to John Brisker.
Folks, definitely Google John Brisker. And the cast in the chat who thinks he's trolling or trying to, saying like I would have started Kuminga over Buddy Hield tonight, regardless of what I would have decided to do.
And the team would have lost.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, if I was actually in control of who's playing when, we're not going to 7 games, okay? Like, so we will not be in this position to begin with. But nonetheless, I'm relieved that they moved on. They're in the semis. Rick, this postseason has been fun, and I'm relieved the Warriors are still a part of it because the fact we came this damn close to being upset disturbs me. So, but we're there. The Warriors are in the conference semis. And
well, we weren't upset. I mean, we were supposed to lose. So basically, we pulled off an upset. So that's credit to the team for doing that, and they did it a hard way when they had a chance to close it out at home. So it's even more gratifying, I think, for the players to know that they screwed up, but they made up for it by coming back and playing a hell of a game defensively, which kept them in the game. And thank God for Buddy Hield and steady play of Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry stepping up in the 4th quarter. That was a difference in the basketball game.
It's unbelievable. And they move on. They're in the conference semifinals. Thank goodness. Should be a fun ride, but these playoffs are fantastic this year. I'm riveted. Like before the Warriors and the Rockets. Oh, side note, by the way, I don't know if I know that the Warriors pulled the upset tonight because they were 3-point underdogs, but they were favored to win the series despite being a 7 seed. I don't know.
What do you mean to win the series? How could they possibly against who?
Houston. So before the series started, the line was Warriors. The Warriors had the better odds. Like you would have won more money betting on Houston to win the series than you would have Golden State. But those odds also shift and they change after each game. So
maybe in the betting thing, but to me, somebody actually before the thing, people were picking the Warriors to win the series as a 7th seed.
Yeah, the bookies actually favored them. They set the line. It was like minus 120 or 130 or something like that.
That's interesting because I happen to agree with them because I actually thought that this is a good matchup for the Warriors. They matched up well against them. And it turned out to be that way. But I'm surprised that the betting people had the Warriors as the favorite. So some of the people over there knew what the hell they were doing.
Well, and I think the reason why is because the Warriors, like so many stats you throw those out the window because of the Jimmy Butler trade. And that sample size is so small. I mean, they picked him up on February 8th. So you really only have like this 2-month sample size of what the Warriors really are. And they finished the season something like 21-7 with him. It was a really good record. And I think that's why the seed didn't carry the same weight as it normally would in a series like this. Biz513 bring it up in the chat routinely. No GP2, no problem. That is correct. He was out with an illness tonight. And Rick, last pay chat, and then I'd love to hear from your companies. Let's give them some love as well, especially with the holidays slowly creeping up. We're in May now. Wainster 599 saying Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler made those second half critical shots. Steph is unbelievable in all caps. His steal on the Rockets, number 23. Who's number 23?
That was Sengun. He came over his shoulder. I watched that very carefully. He was hiding behind him. The player throwing the ball inbounds did not see Steph Curry. I can guarantee you.
There you go.
Because he was blocked out and screened off, and he saw the play. And as that pass came, it was a high pass. He came up and was able to take it right out of Sengun's hands. And that was just another great experience from an experienced player of his caliber. Just a smart play, and it was a big steal that helped to seal things for him, no question.
It was huge. Steph was huge. He's fantastic.
Listen, let me say my stuff about my show, my stuff, so you can get Larry on the line.
I'm in no rush. I will never rush you out, sir. Please don't feel that way. Take your time, please.
No, I'm rushing myself out so I can go to bed.
Sounds good. Who sponsors? Who are you involved with, sir? Besides,
basically, I don't know who you're running, but so you say holiday coming up, Mother's Day's coming up. In fact, the one allomd.com, and the code for all of these is small r, small b 24 to get a nice discount. The Aloe MD is a cannabinoid. It's Ultimate Repair X. If you have stuff in discomfort, you've got anti-inflation, you have inflammation, you can use this product. I use it every day. But they also have a lot of great products for women, aloe products there, and that code will work for those. So you may be able to pick up a nice gift for mom for Mother's Day. So that'd be kind of cool. And then we've got Medicileaf, medicileaf.com, another cannabinoid company. My buddy Don Schaefer is one of the owners of the company, and they have great products too. The Platinum Pro Plus Salve. Oh my God, the Platinum Pro Salve is just so powerful. 5,500 milligrams of incredible group of different cannabinoids that are in there. A formula that just does some wonderful stuff. And I've seen miraculous things happen for people using that. And then, of course, if you wear sleeves for your knees or your calf and for helping with your Achilles, your elbows, Ghost Sleeves is just a remarkable product that I've used for years. Kinesio tape built into them. There hasn't been one person that I've turned on to this who hasn't come back and said, Rick, these are the greatest things I've ever had. And the runners are going nuts over it. Go to the website, check it out. That's Go Sleeves, SLEEVES.com. And RB24 is the code there as well. In fact, things are going really well. As far as the knee is concerned, is that they've been out and trying to get more of the white sleeves in because they have different colors, and the white ones just were flying off the shelves. So great product there as well. So anyway, I wish everybody all the best. Go Warriors. It'll be exciting to see what happens on Tuesday, and some fun games coming up. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yes, it is.
Hey, I was shocked that Indiana won on the road convincingly.
Right, that was the game that preceded the Warriors and the Rockets tonight.
Cleveland has been playing exceptionally well. I mean, look what they did to freaking Miami. I was like, I'm just embarrassing, and to get beat there, at home in the first game. Wow, that make that series very interesting.
Rick,
hey, the good thing is Halliburton's father isn't going to be at any of the games.
Yeah, he's currently excommunicated from Warriors games, or from NBA games. But Rick, I don't know if you agree with this sentiment or not. To me, the Eastern Conference is a joke. You have these 4 teams who are still alive. Great. They're relevant. They're good. You could add the Pistons, who have an incredible future ahead of them. I thought they had a great season in general. Outside of those 5 teams, the Eastern Conference is a laughingstock. It's hard for me to take anything seriously in terms of accomplishments, wins and losses. Like Cleveland won 64 games this year, and my reaction is, in the East, let me see them actually win a 7-game series against a real team.
What was their record against the Western Conference?
I don't have that in front of me, but I'll find it in stuff. No, that's good. That's a great point. I'm going to pull that up right now. But and they split the season series with the Pacers this year. I think they played each other 4 times, and now they got their hands full. So Cleveland this season was 41-11 in the East, which means against the West they were 23-7.
That's still pretty impressive.
It is impressive. Yeah, I'm not saying they're a bad team, but all I'm saying is it's when you live in the Eastern Conference, more specifically. It's almost like a glorified G League. I don't know why the East has become this bad, but it's embarrassing. It's sad. Anyways, Rick, I feel like you could be the GM of the Hornets, the Wizards, any one of these teams, and flip that thing around and make them a competitive good team. I will never understand why more teams are not begging you. They're not like knocking on your door, begging, pleading. Well, we need your help. We need your expertise. I will never understand that. The NBA is crazy.
What it is recognizing talent. I mean, you just have to understand and recognize talent and see it. And I think that too many of the general managers or their scouts that they get hung up on athleticism. Athleticism, now you can make it to the NBA. There's tons of guys playing the NBA right now, making millions of dollars, who are some of the most gifted athletes in the world, but have no idea how to really play and have no feel for the game. Okay,
yes, sir. And
give me the guy who has a natural feel for the game. And I've said this many, many times, and I'll continue to say it. And that's easy to see in a relatively short period of time. And then I would determine, all right, now let me check and see what other things that he's doing that he doesn't do well, whatever. Sir. Can we help him here? But does he have a natural feel for the game? Because I can't teach him that. And so that's a critical element. And teams have to do a better job of picking players who have that, because if you have that, you have a player who, generally speaking, will not let you down when it comes to playing the game the correct way. Now, they may let you down because he doesn't shoot the ball well or something, but he has a great feel for the game defensively, where you have to be, man, ball relationship, screening your guy off the boards. I mean, but just also then that extra little something that you can just see when you watch a guy that some other players don't have.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Rick, it's always a pleasure, sir. People can follow you on all social media platforms at Rick24Berry. You join our show as regularly as possible, and I can't thank you enough, sir. I'm guessing the audience is replicating my feelings about how appreciative we are that you take a precious few moments to join us. Thank you.
I'm doing this because I love the game a lot and everything, and because I really like you as a person.
You,
and if so, just to do something for you to help out.
Right back at you. Right back. The feeling is mutual, and then some. Thank you, sir. And so stick around. The link, if you subscribe to Golden Days, is available. Part 2 of tonight is going to start right now. Rick, thank you, sir. And it's really late where you're out in Florida, so can't thank you enough. Have a great night. Go Dubs. They win. Rick, thank you again. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, and bye-bye.